When I was younger, I remember my obsession with medicine and literature. My father gifted me biographies of doctors on my birthdays, but the one which left the most profound impact on my perception of contentment in life over monetary rewards and service to one's community is Tracy Kidder's Mountains Beyond Mountains. The protagonist of this book is Paul Edward Farmer, a brilliant doctor, anthropologist, and humanitarian who, inspired by Catholicism despite being an atheist, devoted his life to aiding the underprivileged with his Harvard-born medical expertise in third-world countries such as Haiti and Peru. Farmer's story is told through the eyes of Tracy Kidder, the author. Kidder spent years studying Farmer, understanding how he practiced medicine with unparalleled selflessness. Kidder explores Farmer's negligence as a father, opinions on foreign policy, and use of charity work to justify that all he does is righteous. But Kidder concludes that Farmer is still a prolific and moral man. Kidder begins the book with an anecdote of when he met Farmer at a U.S. military base in Haiti in 1994, a time of political instability and ruling military juntas. Kidder notes how Farmer speaks in the Haitian tongue and is close friends with the locals. Farmer's involvement in aiding the community via medicine has revealed to him both the underlying culture and inequality. Kidder cuts to Farmer's work as a Bostonian infectious disease doctor and professor of anthropology at Harvard Medical School. The reader sees Farmer's heartfelt interaction with Joe, an addict and patient with TB, whom Farmer finds a homeless shelter and care for beyond the hospital. When Farmer returns to Haiti, Kidder calls him a saint, Jesus Christ, and an iconoclast. We get to see Farmer's mortality when he comes to the U.S. in 1998 to heal his broken leg and returns to Haiti to find one of his patients dead from TB, for which he receives the community's blame. Farmer refuses to give up on healthcare in Haiti and, using the scientific method, tries to overcome the U.S.'s narrow-mindedness and Haiti's poverty to maximize TB treatments. Kidder takes a pause in narration for Farmer's biographical information. Farmer was born in Massachusetts in 1959 to the warden, a competitive salesman. After moving to Alabama, Farmer studied herpetology and the Bible. While picking citrus in Florida, he was first exposed to people of color. Farmer attended Duke but refused to let fraternities and academic honors blur his love for people. Inspired by 19th century Dr. Rudolf Virchow, Farmer pursued cellular pathology, but he channeled his humanitarianism into the public works project of rebuilding Britain's sewer system. Being political at Duke helped him meet Juliana de Wolf, who introduced him to Haitian charity work. During this time, Farmer was rejected by a woman named Doll because his profession was maddening to her. Taken aback by the poverty in Haiti, Farmer turned to liberation theology and developed the idea of righting the world's wrongs during his lifetime rather than waiting for God to act. Farmer was also jarred when another American doctor said he only wanted to treat people of his ethnic background, not the Haitians. Farmer turned to his patients more and conducted macroscopic studies to find how he could better his approach. Farmer was open-minded and accepted Haitian traditions such as voodoo, wearing a cross himself and appearing like the village's priest. While individuals like his lover Ophelia and Kidder could not begin to understand him, people like the local priest who built a pipe system for the community and Tom White, director of Project Bread, related to Farmer's knee-deep involvement in combating HIV and malaria in Haiti. A fatal flaw is revealed when we see Farmer showing affection for his patients but unable to do so for the people closest to him. The Haitian political situation with dictator Baby Doc also frustrated Farmer, but he returned to the U.S. and founded Partners in Health. Farmer earned his Ph.D. but did not return to Haiti because he became a political target for supporting Aristide. He was eventually taken off the no-fly list. When Farmer returned to Haiti, he became politically active, collecting money to lead an underground pacifist resistance movement. After receiving honors in medicine, Farmer turned to journalism to elicit support for Haitian healthcare. However, in L'Ennemi La Santé, Farmer's health projects were abandoned because patients and nurses were harassed for not supporting the military junta. Kidder admires an epidemiological map that Farmer created of Haiti and shares frustration and pharmaceutical reluctance to provide TB drugs to the poor. Farmer broadened his aid to Peru after the death of his Peruvian friend from TB. With the help of Father Jack Russin, a social justice activist, and Jim Kim, a PIH board member, Farmer began healthcare projects in Peru. In Cabarallo, an American safe haven for migrant workers, Farmer set up a hospital and studied TB variants. Here, Farmer was ashamed of his excitement spurred by discovering the amplification of TB via the drug MDR-TB due to the human suffering it caused. Farmer elicited the help of Dr. Michael Isman and other TB specialists, but Kim makes a point that rich countries only prioritize preventing disease from spreading to them. In 1994, Farmer married Dee Dee Bertrand, the daughter of a schoolmaster who understood Farmer did not have much time to spend with her. Meanwhile, Farmer struggled with PIH funding, and while he split his time between Haiti and his family, he contracted a disease, revealing his mortality and vulnerability. In Peru, due to Farmer's agitation, the government changed its approach to healthcare. Kidder sheds some light on Farmer's colleagues. Jim Kim was part of a racial minority in the U.S., so in Haiti, while Farmer took the approach of righteousness, Kim took the approach of racial solidarity. Farmer focused on medical aspects while Kim focused on economics, facing the World Health Organization and its belief that widely available TB drugs will join the black market. Despite becoming more famous, Farmer spent most of his time with patients and religiously answered all of his emails. When Farmer visited Cuba, he admired the country's healthcare system despite its poor democracy and said this is because it is free of American control. Farmer sympathized with communists but didn't believe in a cycle of dependency. When Farmer faced criticism, he immaturely blamed his opponents for being anti-humanitarian. Farmer's perspective on family dynamics changed when he saw a dead baby and thought he was giving his daughter too many privileges over his patients. Farmer preached that the prosperity in Paris is associated with colonial-based poverty in Haiti, and because Farmer thought Russia had lost sight of its people, he began treating Russian prisoners. Farmer also got involved with the Gates Foundation and the Soros Foundation. Kidder focuses on many of Farmer's realizations by the end of the book. Farmer was unable to assimilate into U.S. society after exposure to Haitian culture. He realized there is no cycle of dependency, as Haitians were grateful for whatever health care they could receive. Farmer acknowledged that there will always be cultural and ethnic bias in healthcare, and his treatment of Haitians was meant to show they are not inferior people on the global stage. After reading Mountains Beyond Mountains, I became disillusioned with medicine. Kidder revealed the beauties and flaws of Farmer's character to deeply analyze his human nature. However, this book did inspire a sense of humanitarianism in me as I began the Raj Foundation, my family charity. Now it is as though Farmer's always in my head asking, what can you do for the community?